had a vision. He knew that only the Palestinian who should fight the Israelis.
And he personally symbolized the whole spirit of the Palestinian, the wish for justice, didn't he? In his own presence and his emotions, he was the symbol.
He was a symbol, and he still continued to be a symbol, even after his death, after his martyrdom. Arafat was clever. He succeeded in a very important dimension. He created the Palestinian identity, and he kept this identity alive until now.
If the Arab regimes had had their way, the Palestinians would have been prepared to accept their place in history as the sacrificial lamb on the altar of political expediency.
Yes, yeah. This is very fair descriptions. They want the Palestinian to be the sacrificial lamb, and but the Palestinian actually realized that, and they start to take the struggle by their own hands, and that's why they kept their cause alive, and that's why, you know, the Zionist dream is not fully accomplished.
Abdul Bari, a question now about how the course of history might have been changed. Supposing after the 1967 war, Arab leaders had been united, sent one of their number secretly to Washington, and said to the president behind closed doors, if you don't get Israel back to the 67 borders, in exchange for peace with all of us, we will turn off the oil taps. What do you think might have happened if they had said that?
My God, what a fantastic idea. If they did that, I think they would change the course of history. I think the American and the West in that time, who were desperate for oil, will realize that there are Arab regime, there are Arab will, there are people who are deciding their own future, saying to the American, look, we are 22 countries, we got the oil, we got your lifeline, so either us or them. But we have to remember, when King Faisal, late King Faisal of Saudi Arabia, shut down the oil flow to the West after 1973 war, what happened? He was assassinated. And he was assassinated by one of his nephews.
Yeah, but that nephew was set up in America.
Yeah, exactly.
On drugs, given the Mossad girlfriend, and programmed to kill.
Yes.
But just coming back to what we've been saying about the Arabs could have played that card, I know for certainty, because I've spoke with many Israeli leaders about it, if the boot had been on the other foot, if the Zionists had been the Arabs, they would have played that card. And what that tells me is the biggest difference between Zionist leaders and Arab leaders. Zionists have always known how to play the cards they've got. Arab leaders never have.
Yes, because Zionists were groomed by the West, grew up in a very educated societies. They know how to use their card to the maximum. But if you look at the Arab rulers, most of them are illiterate, literally, and they are backward, and they are cowards. There are very few exceptions, and they want to please the West. That's the problem. So you don't have a true Arab leader who actually can use the Arab cards, the oil card in particular, to the benefit of the Arab people.
Well, I was going to ask you, Abdul Bari, coming back from 67 to now, if only the Arab leaders, useless though they are, is what you're saying, if only they could unite, what cards do they have now, and could they play, and how to play them to change American policy?
Actually, they have a huge, important cards. The first card is oil. The second card is wealth. The third card is, a huge market. The fourth card is security. So they have plenty of cards, but they don't know how, or they don't want to use it. Look, everybody now is talking about oil. Who got the oil? Who got the reserves? The Arabs. And, they are not doing it. They are not saying to the American, we can hurt you. For example, when President Bush visited Saudi Arabia, he asked for more oil to be pumped. And they agreed. without anything in return. If they said to the American president, look, you want us to increase our production, we are willing to do so, but we need pressure on the Israeli to stop settlement in the West Bank.
You just used a wonderful phrase, without anything in return.
Yes.
You see, whenever the Israelis are asked to do something, they always say, yes, but we have a price.
Exactly.
We'll do that and you do that. That's one thing Arafat always used to say to me. I can't understand why, that's the way the Jews play it, not just the Zionists. Arab leaders just don't seem to understand.
The problem with the Arab leaders, they don't understand the Western mentality. And even if they do understand, they don't want to exploit it to our own causes, to serve our causes. I'll tell you something. In 1991, they fought with the American to evict Saddam Hussein from Kuwait. What they got in return? Nothing. In 2001, after 11th September, they fought the war against terrorism with the American. And they helped the American a lot to fight Al-Qaeda and to topple Taliban in Afghanistan. What they got in return? Nothing.
Because they asked for nothing.
Yes, they asked for nothing, and they got nothing. Again, they helped the American to topple Saddam Hussein and to facilitate their occupation of Iraq. What they got after that? Nothing. But, now Iraq is a complete dismembered, and it's anarchy. And this anarchy starts to actually reflect badly on the Arab world. And you have Al-Qaeda is there, you have radical organization is there. So this is the problem with those Arab regimes. They don't ask for any returns. They do all these services to the American and to the West free of charge.
Arafat once said to me that the Palestinian cause could never be destroyed, despite the regimes, because it was alive in the hearts and minds of the Arab masses. Is that still the case today?
The only unifying factor in the Arab world and the Muslim world is the Palestinian cause. So I believe Arafat was right. The Palestinian cause will continue to be live in the hearts and the minds of all Muslims and the Arabs.
But Abdul Bari, that then begs a very big question. In my book, Zionism, the Real Enemy of the Jews, I describe the Arab street as an explosion of humiliation and anger waiting for its time to happen. And the cause of the humiliation is not only Israel's behavior, but the failure of the Arab regimes to do anything to check Israel. So the logical question would be this. Do you see a time coming when the Arab masses will become so fed up with being humiliated that they will rise up and topple these regimes?
I think the days of the Arab regimes are numbered, because the Arab people realize that they cannot be cheated anymore. The Arab regimes used to oppress and suppress their own people under the pretext of Palestine. After this peace treaty with the Israelis, secrets and public talks with the Israelis, the Arab masses realized that these regimes are corrupt and useless, and they had to move against them. Now there is some sort of awakening in the Arab world, and there is at the same time movements to suppress this awakening by controlling the Arab media, by controlling the Western media. It is very clear why, for example, the BBC is launching an Arabic television service, for example. Why the American launching Al-Hurra, which is Arabic service television. Why the German have one. Why the Russian